Professor Dean Campbell from Bradley University asked, can Lux Blox model zeolites for his materials class? The answer is yes. And in just a few minutes, we're going to see how these zeolites, these special 14-sided polyhedron, explain one of nature's most powerful families of chemical helpers. This is the Tetrakaidecahedron, 14 faces, 6 squares, 8 hexagons. Very few shapes can fill all space without gaps. Cubes can, the rhombic dodecahedron can, and so can this fascinating blend of cube and octahedron. This ability to tile space makes it the perfect model for zeolites. In 1887, Lord Kelvin proposed this polyhedron as the most efficient way to partition space, the cell of a perfect foam, the perfect foam. Now, it's the same foam he was talking about like in your beer or on the shore of a sandy beach when the water laps up, foam, okay? Zeolites are a family of hydrated aluminosilicate minerals with open, porous frameworks, basically nature's molecular sponges. They usually form when volcanic ash reacts with seawater or alkaline groundwater. Alkaline, the opposite of acid. That's why they're common in volcanic regions like the western United States, Japan, Italy, and Iceland, where there's volcanoes. Over 240 frameworks of these types are known. About 40 occur naturally, with names like mordanite and chasbazite. Beds of zeolite can be meters thick and are mined for agriculture, water treatment, and industry. What makes zeolite so special is that they act like chemical helpers. They provide tiny cages and channels where reactions can happen more easily. Just think about that. They're like helping other reactions to occur. These guys, they act like molecular sieves, blocking out bigger molecules and letting the right size molecules fit in or pass through. Their negative sites can swap ions, softening water, improving soils, even cleaning up pollution. They can store gas like CO2 and ammonia. They don't get used up in the process. They're like the host, the scaffolding, or even the hotel that makes the chemistry possible. The guests are the molecules, the architecture decides who gets in, where they stay, and what happens inside. With Lux Blox, we can build these frameworks ourselves. First, the isotropic lattice. This is the isotropic lattice. Repeating Tetrakaidecahedra, filling all space evenly, just like Kelvin's foam. The second one we're going to look at is the extruded hexagon cage lattice, the sodalite type cages. They got bigger cavities where guest molecules can stay. These two structures capture how zeolites really work. Sometimes a uniform foam, sometimes a set of cages, but always a geometric host that enables chemistry. So yes, Professor Campbell, Lux Blox can model zeolites, and in doing so they reveal why zeolites are one of nature's greatest chemical helpers, structures that don't just exist, but create conditions for other reactions to happen. We freaking love zeolites here, and with Lux Blox you can hold their hidden geometry and their chemistry right in your hands. Doesn't that sound awesome? So, real quick, let me just show you how we make these, okay? So, we'll start with this one, the isotropic. And all this was one of these, okay, and you can see the algorithm right now. They're locked into a XYZ axis, okay? How do you make one of these? This guy right here, if you can see how it's made, it's just essentially, you make 6 prisms out of squares, okay? And the 6 prisms are going to be attached to 8 hexagons. And these 8 hexagons, if you can see what I did here, I'm going to undo it for you. See if I can make it into a net. Oh yeah, okay, here's a net. Pretty net. So here you can see, here's a net. Okay, and then I'm going to close this net just like this to form the first square opening. I'm going to continue to close this net, so make another square opening here, and then another square opening here, and the last square opening here. So the rule is that around every hexagon are 3 hexagons and spaces, open windows in between. Those open windows are going to receive the square prisms. Each one gets its own prism. And we call this an extrusion. We're extruding the square face. extrusion, think about when you're a little kid playing with Play-Doh, and you're extruding the clay through the little square holes, so you get a little prism of clay. The same can be said for like cookie cutters too. They're kind of like little extrusions of dough, okay? Another one. And I put my finger underneath it to offer a counter pressure, so when I push it out, I don't break what I just made. Halfway there. These are actually fun to make. And then, and you really get a sense of the architecture of these. Okay, 2 more. And you'll see how squishy these are. They're very squishy. Because the trigons really imitate like an organic membrane. And then one more. And you see, here it is. And the rule is that all you're going to do now is you're going to put either you can double up this bond here, make another, and you can just make duplicates of these, or what I did was you just take, I'll just try this one here and show you. You start to build around it. You start to build around it a new one. So you'll build another one here, right? So I built 8 of them, okay? And this will go out infinitely in all different directions, okay? Definitely, it's going to fill all space, and this is the size of cage it's going to make. Okay, it's very uniform, but consider this. This cage is much bigger. Okay, this will fill a larger molecule can enter into this one than into this one. So it's a very programmable kind of molecule. Okay, and you could see how this would affect other molecules that would nest either totally inside and be trapped, or be on the outside boundaries. And this can cause very interesting architectural, like I said, a hotel for chemical reactions. If it is the host, okay, then the visitors come and do their thing, because if it's geometry. Now, this one here, okay, instead of extruding the square of the tetrakaidecahedron, we extruded, instead of the square, we left the square alone, and we extruded the hexagonal faces, okay? Which makes a really pretty thing. And now you see the two, I can see it. You see 2 tetrahedrons, one going up and one going down, the inside of this guy, okay? And you're really gonna see it once you subtract 3, this is what I mean. You're gonna only use 3 of the hexagons, okay? And you're gonna leave the other hexagons as faces. Okay, I'll build you one right now and show you. I'm going to build you one by taking this one apart. Okay, so right now I've extruded all 6. Is it 6? No, it's not 6. It's 8. All 8 of these have been extruded. We don't want to extrude all of them. We want to save some of them as faces, because we're going to create a diamond lattice. It's called a sodalite. Okay. The cage structure. So you're going to take this icosahedron, you're going to take this extruded octagon, and you're going to transform it into an extruded tetrahedron. Mike, how can you go from an octahedron to a tetrahedron? Well, just think about it. Octa means 8, and tetra means 4. Okay, so we're just going to say, what is 8 minus 4? 4. And a tetra tetrahedron means a four-sider. So by eliminating 4 of the extrusions, we're left with 4. And the 4, instead of 8s, and the 4 actually are duplicating a tetrahedron. And why is a tetrahedron so special in molecular chemistry? Well, a tetrahedron, like silicon or like carbon, is kind of like the magic molecule, the magic geometric form, because it'll make lattices that are diamond-like, beautiful diamonds. It'll make lots of other things too, like organic chemistry. But in this case, this zeolite is going to have a constraint system where it's only going to have, the code's going to be, it's only going to allow 4 of those hexagonal faces to extrude out in space. But by them extruding out into space, you're going to form a sodalite, I think I'm getting the word right, sodalite? A sodalite structure, cage structure. And it's basically very similar to a diamond structure. It fills all space, but makes a massive cage. Okay, here we go. Let's see. And there it is. It's so beautiful. It really is. I love this. So this is defining a tetrahedral space. Now the rule is this: every time you add 1 to it, okay, you are going to alternate. So you're not going to allow. You're going to make sure that you're not going to go hexagon back to hexagon. You're going to go hexagon to square. Okay. So the rule is always that the hexagon meets a square, right? A square meets a hexagon. So they always twist. And when you get the correct twist of your algorithm, your little rule generator, you're going to get a lattice that's a diamond lattice, a fantastic diamond lattice compared to this. So the sodalite lattice, the isotropic lattice. Look at these beautiful lattices of zeolites. This has been Mike from Lux Blox. I've had a great time talking with you guys today. This was for the chemistry class at Bradley University, but it's for the world. Thank you, Bradley University, for continuing to ask Lux Blox questions about how to model chemistry at Lux Blox. And I think that we're going to do more with zeolites because we've just touched the surface. We haven't even talked about antiprisms, which are a completely different phenomenon where you can take it, instead of using a prism, we use the prism's crazy sister, the antiprism, but we'll talk about that next time. This has been Mike from Lux Blox, checking out. See you later. Thank you for coming. And please, if you like this, subscribe and like us in the like box and share with your friends. That's how we get the word out that Lux Blox models physics and nature. And that's what we call this, the transcendental block. It's a block that goes deep and exposes kids and you kids in college to how fun things like chemistry are, because everything is structure, everything is architecture, everything is a form. And that's not only deep and interesting, but it's also aesthetically pleasing and rich in your brain. It's like brain food. There goes the train. See you later. Bye.